All right, so it's 6:35. We're going to get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Isabel Vargas. I'm the exhibitions director here at the Kansas City Artists Coalition, and I'm here accompanied by Nia Hemmitt, who is a wonderful artist, photographer, etc. We're just going to do like a pretty casual Q&A. I have some questions, so if you guys have some questions, feel free to just start putting them in the chat and we'll sort through them. I wanted to read a little bit about Nia's exhibition that she has up called Alternatives before we get started. So Alternatives, this series of work is about being unapologetically yourself, even if it is scary or weird or makes other people uncomfortable. I make these portraits of people wearing whatever they want to wear, be a prom dress or a Lolita dress. These collaborative shoots' sole purpose is to make my model feel comfortable being themselves. Being a part of the alternative community myself, I meet so many people who are able to express themselves fully through their clothing. With these images, I'm accessing a group of people who don't get much visibility, the weirdos, people who don't fit societal norms. My images aim to ask questions about gender normalities and what it means to be normal. Mainly, the images serve as empowerment for women in the LGBTQ community, telling them that they can always be whoever the hell they want to be. So without further ado, I give you guys Nia Hemmitt. And Nia, I wanted to just ask you a quick question, just to start off, like talking about yourself and your work, just like a quick introduction, if you will.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm Nia Hemmitt. I am a 23-year-old photographer out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently enrolled at Georgia State University in their photo department. That's really where I started making this project. I started making these images probably like last year. And like I said in my artist statement, it really began, well, my interest in alternative people began when I was like in middle school, honestly. I got on Tumblr for the first time and I saw like goth people, punk people, like just all these weird people that I didn't really know existed outside of like the internet. So I really just started being really like interested in how people are able to express themselves, especially like through their clothing, and like not care what other people are thinking about them, because I'm alternative myself, so I wear like platforms and like a lot of weird things that call attention to me all the time, and it's just like I'm kind of amazed by myself sometimes and how I'm able to just like not really care about like an old white woman on the street staring at me and like being like, what? So yeah, that's really where my project started. Yeah.
That leads me to my next question, because you talk about like unapologetically being yourself in your work, and I wanted to ask what that means for you.
Okay. It means to me putting on whatever you want to wear and like not really caring if, you know, you go outside and somebody is like staring at you or somebody like asks you, why are you wearing that? You know, it's just about being who you want to be constantly, because I feel like sometimes when I like go to different places, I want to like mold myself to be the person that the audience that are going to be there are, you know, going to expect me to be, but I'm just like, no, I want to wear this today, so I'm going to wear that. And that's really just how most, if not all of my models, like that's just how they function, you know, like in this image right here on the right, they're literally wearing like Lolita dresses and like striped stockings and stuff like that. And it's just like, this isn't like a character to them. This is like somebody who they're going to be every day. Like my friend right here in this photo on the left, like she would literally wear this to go to Walmart. And that's really what it means to just be unapologetically yourself.
And so we're on the topic of clothing. Like, what role does costuming play in your work? Do the models supply their own clothes, or do you have like a repertoire of clothing that you use on models?
So everything that you're seeing my models wear is clothing that they already own. The shoots that we do are 100% collaborative. Like I literally, like when I contact them, I'm like, put on whatever you have always wanted to wear, like, but you haven't had anywhere to wear it. Like wear your most outlandish outfit, like do whatever you want. And I always just try to make sure that they're comfortable with what they're wearing. That's really just the most important part to me, honestly, is my model's comfort. So I never costume the people, and that's kind of something that I've gotten a lot. People think that I'm just like dressing these people up and like making them look quote unquote alternative to fit my project, but it's like, no, I just know a lot of really unique people, and I just let them express themselves however they want.
And what artists are you inspired by?
Ooh. So I'm very inspired by Petra Collins, because I feel like she makes a lot of work like with women looking like fairies, and like, I don't know, it's just really inspiring to me to like see such a young woman making like work that I'm really interested in. And like she's very focused on fashion also. I'm also really inspired by, it was just in my head, and as soon as I was about to say it, it went away.
That's okay.
Yishu Wang, his name is Yishu Wang. He's not super popular over here. He's more of like an Asian artist. But I follow him on Instagram, and I'm just so interested in him because a lot of the other people who I'm really inspired by are more so like film photographers, but he's like a digital artist. And I really like his work. He uses a lot of flash and a lot of night work, like kind of like my work on the left-hand side. This image of this woman in this tree is really inspired by him because he uses a lot of like bright contrasting flash and like dark situations. Yeah.
And that with the conversation about like film and digital, what kind of photography do you use? Do you have a preference for digital or film, and why?
I really love film. I just feel like there's nothing like it. This entire project was shot on digital though, on like a Canon or something. Just because it's more convenient to me. Like, you know, having to go develop images is it's quite a lot. It's kind of stressful for me, but there's nothing like film, especially on medium format. And I took a class last semester on like lighting and large format photography. And ever since I took that large format, like ever since I saw the detail that you can get in a large format image, I have not really been interested in digital, but you know, for quality and, you know, purposes of me not being super stressed, I've been using digital.
Yeah.
Can she repeat the name of the person?
Yeah.
The other artist other than Petra?
Someone in the chat wants to know what the other artist you mentioned is named.
So I mentioned Yishu Wang, Yishu Wang, and then Petra Collins.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
And I'm also really inspired by one of my friends. He's a fellow Atlanta artist. He actually just shot for Teen Vogue. I'm so obsessed with him right now. His name is Kendall Bessent. Bessent? Yeah.
Bessent?
Bessent. Bessent. Yeah, I'm obsessed with him right now. And I'm just like, I can't believe you're my friend. But yeah.
And we have some questions popping up in the chat. So someone, Jessica asked, Nia, do your subjects or models pick the environment they're photographed in, or do you curate the location?
So the location, a lot of times is spontaneous. Like most of my models, like I said, are my friends. So I'll just tell them, hey, come pick me up from my house. We'll just drive around my house and find somewhere to shoot. So, but the one on the right here with the girl hanging off of the fence, that shoot, I was actually like, I really wanted to do it in that location. So it just depends on if I have already pre-thought out where I want to shoot. But I think that I do really well with spontaneity. I think that that's another part of my project that just kind of works. Yeah.
And Diana asked, other than alternative subjects / models, what else do you like to photograph? What other genres of photography do you enjoy?
Portrait is really like my first love. So I don't really make a lot of images outside of like portraits, but I do like landscapes. Before this project, I was working on a project based on the West End, which is like a part of town in Atlanta that I used to live in, which I was really inspired by because like all the people are just so interesting and it's like the landscape is really interesting. So I was taking a lot of photos of like, I don't know, there's this one photo I took of like light, just like on a graffiti door. So stuff like that, I really like, light just moves me. So whatever, you know, if there's good light, I can take a photo.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a little bit about Lolita because Lolita is featured a lot in your work. It's such an obscure subculture. I want to know what got you interested in Lolita fashion.
Okay, what got me interested in Lolita is actually my friend on the left. Their name is Raven, and they're just like the weirdest person that I've ever met in my life, but like not in a bad way. And I kind of, when I say weird, like people like think, oh, it's bad, but like weird is so cool to me. It's just like you're able to do whatever you want to do. Anyways, Raven got me interested in Lolita. Them and their roommate Ash, who is in the image on the right, they've been best friends for like so long, and they were like, yeah, we have these matching Lolita fits, like should we wear them? I'm like, yeah, obviously, like what do you mean? So yeah, they got me interested in it. I don't personally dress Lolita. Like I feel like I'm kind of more on the like conservative side of alternative. Like I still wear whatever the hell I want, but not as much as Raven does, which I really admire.
Yeah. And how do you see gender roles within Lolita fashion and subculture? Do you think it defies certain gender roles or maybe plays into certain gender roles?
It sort of does play into some gender roles because I see a lot of like Lolita fashion that kind of looks like, you know, slutty maid dresses or whatever. So it kind of can be like reinforcing those type of gender stereotypes, but at the same time, I think it's just like reclaiming that, like, I'm gonna dress like a slutty maid today, and I don't really care like what you're gonna say about it. You know, it's just because I want to wear it. It's not like I'm trying to impress a man or something like that. But I've also seen like men wearing Lolita fashion or whatever. Like if you get on TikTok, you'll see all types of stuff. So I think that it's cool. I think that it's a way to empower people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I also like thinking about just like the different subjects you photograph. I once heard a quote that like I wanted to know if like race played a factor in the communities that you document. I once heard a quote that said, when you're Black, you're punk rock all the time. And alternative subcultures like punk are often seen as inherently white, even though these movements were pioneered by Black people. And I want to know if you navigate that in your work at all.
I should. I hadn't really ever thought of it like that, honestly. I mean, when you think of most styles and stuff like that, it's all created by Black people. So, I mean, I'm not surprised by that. But I hadn't really thought of it like that. But I do really try to involve like people of color, alternative people of color, because I just feel like when I see representation of like goth people and like punk people and stuff like that, like you said, I feel like I see all white women with spiky hair and stuff like that. And that's beautiful. That's amazing. I'm not here to, you know, tell anybody what to wear, but I think it's really cool to see Black weirdos. Like we're weird as hell too. Like we can wear whatever we want. We can wear a fucking latex dress. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And I just want people to look at my images and be like, wow, they're dressed so cool. I can dress like that. I can wear whatever I want.
That's awesome.
There's a question in the chat. Can you see being a lifelong? Can you see this being a lifelong?
Yeah. Toy Rami asked, can you see this being a lifelong project?
Yeah. I want it to become more like documentary than it is like now, where it's kind of like portrait sessions. I want to like go to different states and stuff and just like go to like punk bars and emo bars and stuff and just like take pictures of people. So I definitely can see it being a lifelong project because I will always be weird. There's no part of me that's gonna, you know, become a housewife or anything like that. I mean, I won't be boring. So I can definitely see it being a lifelong project.
Yeah. And Jessica asked, is fashion at the forefront of alternative lifestyle, or are there other artistic media that informs alternative lifestyles like movies, animation, music, etc.?
Ooh, that is true. Music to me is like the number one most important thing of like alternativeness, because you can definitely, you know, put on a costume and like portray yourself to be like alternative, but like, are you listening to Screamo? Like, are you listening to the Smiths? Are you? I mean, I guess anybody can do whatever they want, but like, yeah, music is definitely a really, really important part of like my alternativeness, definitely, and a lot of the people that I know alternativeness, and I guess movies and stuff like that is also really important. Cause like growing up, I remember like I wanted to be alternative because I was watching Skins, like this TV show Skins.
Yes, I love Skins.
Freaky Friday, oh my God, Lindsay Lohan in Freaky Friday, her outfit. Yes, just having people to look up to and being like, oh, that's super cool. That's super cool. I want to do that. I want to do that one day when I'm not in a super conforming high school that's going to make fun of me for wearing whatever I want.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about your artistic process. So with your process, I wanted to know if you tend to go outside the norm in the same way you kind of photograph people outside of the norm, or are you more rigid with your process?
Do you speak more onto that? Like, what do you mean? Like,
are you, I guess like what I'm trying to say is like, what does your artistic process look like? Are you more like, kind of like, are you very like straightforward with your artistic process, or do you kind of like seek other means? Like,
I'm all over the place at all times. So there's nothing about me that's really like straightforward. When I'm approaching like a person to take photos of them, it's usually always on Instagram. I'm like, I look at somebody's Instagram, I'm like, you're super cool. And like I said, these are usually my friends already.
yeah.
So I'll just be like, okay, so I'm gonna come over, we're gonna take pictures this day, this time, I need this light. All of that, that's always a constant for me. Like I'm always gonna try to shoot around like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock for like this kind of light right here, you know, like magic hour light. So I guess that's kind of rigid. But other than that, I literally tell them wear whatever the hell you want. Sometimes I don't even know what they're gonna wear until I get to their house. Take the photos. We can literally, my shoots can last like 10 minutes or like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. It just depends. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. It depends on how my model is feeling. It depends on our relationship. Because if I'm friends with them, like how I'm friends with a lot of these people, we're gonna be shooting for forever, and we're probably gonna hang out afterwards. We're probably gonna do some stupid stuff afterwards. So yeah, I guess my artistic process is kind of just going with the flow, you know? I find that I make better photos when I'm not super stressed out about it, when I'm not like freaking out about if this person's gonna like me, because I have really bad anxiety. Like I was kind of freaking out about doing this artist talk before this, because I'm just like, yeah. So I make better photos when I chill, if that was your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, I wanted to ask you, you say the word collaboration when you talk about your models, and I wanted to ask you, like, how do you see your work as a collaboration with the models? You mentioned a little bit about costuming, but are there other avenues that you see yourself collaborating with the models?
Like you said, costuming, hair. I let them have a say in where we shoot, because before this project started with me basically like asking all of my models, where is the place that you go where you get the most stares? Like, you wear whatever you want every day, that's already a given. But where do you go where you get stared at by literally everyone? So I was like, really like trying to make art out of like my models' anxieties, which I found was just not cool, because my friend Kyle was just like, I don't want to do that. That makes me really uncomfortable. And I was like, you know what? That matters to me. I don't want you to be uncomfortable, because you can see it in the photos, you know? Yeah. So basically, wow, what was the question? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's just how you collaborate with your models.
Yeah, so I collaborate with them on literally everything. Like, we'll just be driving around and I'll be like, I like this place. And they'll be like, there's men standing out there. I don't want to get out the car and take photos. I'm like, cool, next place. Like, collaborating on basically everything.
That's awesome. I think it's super important to take into account what your models are feeling and how, what their comfort level is. That's really important. And you also talk about the LGBTQ community in your artist statement and in your work. I wanted to know, like, how do you see them being represented in your work?
Okay. Well, I feel like people in the LGBTQ community are like, they're just regular people like all of us. So like, you can't really look at my images and be like, oh, they're gay. Oh, they're definitely gay. So like, I don't really know. I feel like I have images. I don't know why I didn't include them in this, but I have images where I've taken photos of like men wearing makeup and stuff like that, and I did their makeup. But I don't know. I just want people to like, any kind of people to look at my photos and feel like they're represented in it, even if you're not alternative.
Yeah, and like that leads me to my next question. Like, do you think, because I feel this way sometimes with the LGBTQ community, do you think like the alternative community is so like, I feel like it's so open to the LGBTQ community that there tends to be like a lot of overlap?
Definitely. I feel like most of the people that I follow on Instagram that are LGBTQ, they're just like alternative. Wait, no. Most of the alternative people that I follow on Instagram are LGBTQ. Like, even if they're just like, they're not gay or whatever, they're like, I'm non-binary. And I'm like, cool, you don't feel like either one, like, whatever. It's definitely, I feel like people who are in the LGBTQ community, they definitely express themselves a lot more than straight people do, which I'm straight, which is sad, but I feel like since it's so brave to come out to the world as like being gay, it's just not as hard to dress however you want, because it's like, I just did this monumental thing. Why? Who cares what I'm wearing now?
Yeah. Are there any questions in the chat? Also, if anyone in the chat wants to unmute and ask questions directly, you are welcome to do that.
Ask me questions, I'm nice.
Hey Nia, my name's Sheree. I'm out of Atlanta, and I wanted to know, do you have a favorite piece of art that you've created thus far? And what is that?
Yes. Okay. So I think my favorite photo by far, it's not in this PowerPoint, but my favorite image that I made this year is the one on the right. I just really love that photo. And this photo, it really kind of like shows me that like not everybody can see images the way that like I see them, because like I remember I was showing it to one of my friends and I was just like, I just love this photo so much. Like you can see the rain, like I captured it. They were like, I didn't even see that. Like, I wasn't even paying attention to that. And I was just like, what? Like, there's a little rainbow on the photo. Like, I'm picking apart this image. I'm looking at every single detail of this photo. And it's just like, certain people will just look at it and be like, that's nice, and move on. And it's just like, oh man, I want you to like stare at it. I want you to like be like, damn, that's a great photo. But yeah, this is my favorite photo, probably.
It's a really nice photo. What does it mean to you, besides, you seeing every single element, but what does it speak to you, or what do you hope people feel when they look at it?
That's a good question. I am of the belief that not every image has to have a super deep meaning. Like, some images can just be pretty. I remember one time I was in my digital photo class and I took a photo of my dog, and my professor was like, is it a good photo or is it just a cute photo of a dog? And I was like, damn, that is true. It's just a cute photo. So I don't know. I guess I want people to look at these images and be like, that's super cool. I want to go out and take some photos in the rain. I don't know. Just feel like you can be these people in the images. You can be my next subject. That's really just it, honestly.
And we have a question from Ike in the chat. Ike says, you mentioned you love to work on film. How do you think this series would be different if you had shot on film?
Ooh, there would definitely be a lot less photos if I shot on film. I think I'd be a little bit more passionate about this project if I shot on film, because there's just something about film that just film has a hold on me. It's just so much more emotional. I don't even know how or why, but like the way that light is captured on film is just so beautiful. And I also like develop my own film, so I feel like I'd be a little bit more attached to these images, which I am already attached to them, but I feel like I'd be more attached to them if I had shot them on film, because I would have been, 100% there in the process, like shooting, developing, scanning, editing,
And I just want to ask, what is like the biggest challenge you face in like creating this series?
It's definitely finding models, definitely. 100%, that's the hardest thing, which like I said, I have a lot of friends who are really, really cool, but it's like, people have schedules. People have certain things that they're not comfortable with. Some people don't like having their images even made. So it's just like finding models. And I definitely quit this project for a good little bit, like maybe a year ago, because I had this one week where I had like 4 shoots scheduled, and literally every model canceled on me at the last minute. And because I was initially making this work for my school, it was like a really hard deadline on me, and it really just like killed my mood, like overtaking these photos. I love alternative people so much, but we're kind of wishy-washy sometimes. So it's definitely finding models, but the models that I do find, I really, really love them, and I tend to take multiple images of them. Like I'll do multiple shoots with them. Yeah.
Ernita in the chat said, I'm her mom who missed the rain on the image. And she also asked, what are your career aspirations with your education in photography?
Hey, Mom. You already know I don't really know. I just want somebody to pay me to take photos. That's really it. That's my entire thing. I want to get grants. I want people to like my work so much that they're like, okay, I'm gonna fund this for a year. You just go take pictures and make them and send them back to me, and I'm gonna give you $50,000. I don't dream of labor. That's not something that I really dream of. But I would like to get a gallery job. I'm really interested in curation. I think I have a pretty good eye. So I would really like to do something with curation. In my current job, I'm working at a gallery in Atlanta. Has really made me even more interested in curation. So, yeah.
Yeah, curation within itself is an art form, I believe. And I feel like I definitely see, like, your work is heavily curated, and I see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And
I have a hard time narrowing down images to which ones are my best ones, because I feel like a lot of them are really good, which might sound conceited. But
no, they're great. Like you should be proud of that. Like you should be proud of all the fantastic images you've taken.
Wait, I'm sorry. I lied. This one on the right is actually my favorite photo that I've ever taken. The one in the puddle. The puddle? Why is that your favorite photo? I just think it was like the most inventive photo. I don't know. I like the mud. I really like the mud. I like the way it kind of looks like a sky, but like a dirty sky. It's kind of like the opposite of what people would expect. People like to take photos with like the sky as the background, but it's like a muddy, dirty puddle, which is like really cool.
Are they pointing in the photo?
They are. I was like, point. And they were like, okay. And they pointed. I took the photo.
And with the image on the left, I for some reason see some deeper meaning on the image on the left, but I wanted to see if you had deeper meaning. There's something really like contemplative and like spiritual, but also I feel like there's like a very deep bond between these people that I'm reading, but maybe I'm incorrect.
No, there's a very deep bond between them. They've been friends since, they told me since like middle school. So I don't know, I just got really witchy vibes from the clearing. Like this this image on the left-hand side is taken in their backyard. So it's really kind of like I don't know, that like they said that they go sit out there and like talk to each other and stuff, which I thought was just like really sweet. So I was just like, go stand in the clearing and let's take some photos right there. But I get like summoning vibes, like witch vibes from the image on the left-hand side. So I guess it does have a deeper meaning.
Yeah. Some people in the chat just said, period, yes, ma'am, and that you deserve it. And your mom said, everyone, I'm so proud of Nia. And Diana said, hi, mom, I'm proud of her too. She's the best. So clearly you have a lot of fans.
Hey, Diana.
Is there anything that you would like to talk about that like I haven't touched on or I haven't asked you?
I think we did a pretty good job of covering everything. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I'm sorry.
Janet asked, Nia, what or who inspired you to go into photography?
You know it's your husband. Well, I was inspired to go into photography because of Tumblr, like 100% because of Tumblr. I remember I was like in 7th grade, and I remember the exact moment I was in my mom's office at her job, and I was like, Mom, I want a camera for Christmas. And my sister was like, oh my God, yeah. And I got a camera for Christmas. It was like a camcorder. It was really shitty. But like I went to school the next day or whatever, and I just remember taking photos like in gym class. We were like walking around the track. Oh my God, we were walking around the track, and I was just taking pictures with my then best friend, and like it just kind of like went on from there. But what really, really like actually made me feel like I could actually pursue it was I wanted to go to this photography camp at the Art Institute, but we couldn't really afford it at the time, or something happened and we just didn't, we couldn't, do it. And my uncle came to my house they live in Maryland. He came and I told him about it, and he was like, I'll pay for it. And I was like, oh my God. So he paid for it. And I went to this photography camp at the Art Institute, and I actually like won best portfolio or whatever, and I got a scholarship to go there, and I was planning on going there, but I didn't, which I'm glad I didn't go there. But yeah, that was really what made me actually feel like I could make a career out of being a photographer. So thank you, Auntie Janet. Thanks.
And Janet also said, you're amazing and have an eye for all types of art. Trinity, yeah, per.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
I just want to say,
oh, sorry. Could go. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Okay, I was just wanting to say to Nia that we are proud of you. I am her mom. And from the first picture that I saw that Nia took from that little camera, it was a beautiful, it could have been in National Geographic because it was of greenery. It was a fall day, but it was just beautiful, captured perfectly. And ever since then, she's been interested in photography, but she's not really interested in natural photography of sitting someone down and taking a portrait. It's about catching you in your real state. And so for me, and just like my sister said, she has a natural eye. And this is Nia. Who you see today is truly my Nia. And so we just want the very best for you. And I know that you're going to do well wherever you go after you graduate. So be blessed, Nia.
Thanks.
That was awesome. Calvin asked, how has your feel for composition changed since the beginning?
I definitely now know, I don't really know, honestly. I feel like I've been making photos the same my entire life. I just have a better camera now and, more knowledge on how to use a camera. I think that I've always been like, okay, like somewhere in my head, I always like think of like, is it called the 2/3 rule? So the 1/3 rule, where like you see like a grid in your mind, and like I'm like, okay, so the subject should go there. If I have anything else in the image, it should go on the side and stuff like that. Like I kind of feel like I've always had like that kind of like calculative thinking in my mind when I was making a photo. And I feel like that's really what made me feel like I could take photos, because like, I know it sounds kind of shitty, but like, I'll look at some photos, like really popular images on Instagram, and I'll be like, that's really not even that good. Like, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done that, which I know I'm not the best photographer in the world, but it's just like, sometimes I look at photos and I'm like, oh, that was better. You just moved it up a little bit. So I feel like in my mind, like going to school for photography really just like furthered my knowledge and my love for making photos.
Toy said, "All we love supportive parents."
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, Toy, that's my friend from school. She's great. She's also a really great photographer. Hit her up.
all right. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about just different subcultures. Lolita fashion is one of them. Are you interested in any other, like maybe specifically like Japanese fashion subcultures, like visual K or like anything like that?
I don't have much background on that, but I'm really interested in like Japanese culture. Like I feel like Japanese and like just Asian culture in general, like they just have the best fashion. And I would definitely love to go over there and just like make portraits of people like in the street, like how they have like those cameras or whatever in the street, like making videos of people walking down the street, like these are the outfits I saw today in Japan. Yeah, I'm really interested in that. But I would have to do more background on like the different like sub genres like in their type of fashion.
I would like to take this moment to open it up to you, Nia, if you want to touch on anything else, or like any other audience members who have questions, feel free to unmute and ask them.
I don't really have anything else. I feel like I said everything that I wanted to say. Yeah. Anybody else?
Marissa asked, do you direct your models on how to pose?
Definitely. Some models like her right here, she's a model like already, so she knows how to pose and all that kind of stuff. So that like working with some people is definitely easier than working with others. Like her right here, she also knew exactly how to pose and everything she wanted to do. But I definitely like guide people, because you know certain poses that people do will look awkward, or like they'll just have their chin up too high, and I'm like, put your chin down just so that you like the photos, because you know when you make a photo of somebody, I can love the photo, and the model will be like, I look terrible, and I'm like, okay, so what do I have to do next time to make you like these images? And it usually just has something to do with the way their face was looking, the expression that they had on their face, the way that their chin was positioned, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do.
And Nick asked if you ever received any pushback for picking this subject matter.
No, not really. I mean, I haven't really gotten, this work hasn't really gone to that broad of an audience yet. Really just my Instagram and my schoolmates and stuff like that. And the general consensus is that people like it. I mean, people are really interested in alternative culture, even if they don't like dressing like that themselves. Like I feel like I was literally outside yesterday. I was at Popeyes earlier, and this old lady rolled down her window and she was like, "You look so cute. I love your shoes. I love your makeup." And I was just like, thank you so much. So I feel like it's not as taboo as it used to be, honestly, to dress the way that we dress, because there's just so many people like I said earlier, if you go on TikTok, you will see some crazy people dressing crazily. So I feel like it's just kind of normalized now to wear weird stuff. Yeah. Men are wearing made outfits.
Janet asked, are you applying the makeup on the models, or do you allow them to apply their
own? They usually do their own makeup. It just depends. If the model doesn't know how to do makeup, then I'll do the makeup, because I love doing makeup. So yeah, it just depends on who the model is. This photo, my model did their own makeup. It's usually them doing their own makeup. Cause I don't like dressing people up. That's not what I'm here to do. So if it's not makeup that they would wear every day, then I don't really want them to wear it. And Mom, this artist talk is a part of that exhibition, so I don't really have to share that.
Some of us didn't know that this was a part of that exhibit, so this is fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us, Nia.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I want to just check again to see if anyone else has any questions. Feel free to unmute or put them in the chat. And I just want to let everyone know also that we're recording this session, so it will be available on our YouTube, Facebook, and website for anyone who missed it or couldn't tune in for the whole talk. So if anyone else doesn't have any questions.
Thank you guys for liking my work enough to show it in your gallery.
Of course, thank you so much for sharing your work with us.
To come down there and see it.
Yes, and
And you can purchase your photos off of my website if you'd like, or just text me. Just text me.
And yeah, someone asked where we can purchase your photos, and someone else said, thank you, Nia, love your photos.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Nia. Your work is truly wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Nia.